adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. We're here in Waco, Texas, where we're about to go and enjoy something a little bit different. We're going to the Dr. Pepper Museum and finding out all things Dr. Pepper. I can't wait. Maybe there will be samples. Let's roll the intro and get inside. Here we go, guys, right here, and the entrance is right here. Now, before we move inside, a quick backstory. I've been here a long time ago when I was a wee little tot. I haven't been here since though, and they've apparently changed up everything. Now for today, we have these little wristbands that we will be putting on. Of course, there's two, which means I have a guest. Mom's with me today, so this should be kind of fun. The first time I ever came here, I was actually with Mom. So again, this is us seeing this again for the first time in a long time. Each one of the social distancing circles actually has a fact about Dr. Pepper. Now, Mom just picked up a map, but they do have that QR code as well. So if you have your phone with you and you're not trying to film, that's a great way for you to kind of navigate around. Okay, according to our map, we are in floor 1, number 1, and that is the Healing Waters exhibit. So everything in here is going to talk about the benefits that they thought came from the healing waters. Just a few fizzy facts right up here. Along this wall, we can trace the entire history from the fizzy waters of the past to the modern day sodas that we have now. And some of these are really cool facts. And you also get to see some of the bottles that might have been used along the way. Now, just behind me is the old corner drugstore. Now, this is a pretty neat exhibit because this is where the magic all happened. Dr. Pepper was founded right in a drugstore that looked kind of like this. Next up, we're moving into the Artesian Manufacturing and Bottle Company. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with or if it's a Texas thing. Hot Dr. Pepper. Now, they used to serve this at track meets and things like that. And I remember always wanting to get this, but I never had a clue that it was so big that they would do it as like a holiday treat, or that they even had special kettles for it. Now, I do know that a lot of times whenever they would do those hot Dr. Peppers, they would spice them up a little bit with additional rum. Of course, that wasn't how we consume them at track meets, but still. Now, all of these wonderful people right here are actually some of the original bottling staff. And each one of them are numbered, as you can see. And right here on the corresponding wall, you can learn a little bit more about what they did within the organization. Here we go. We have a well that is 27.5 feet deep, the same length as a London double-decker bus. It is right here, and that is the original water source that they would use. Wow. That's crazy. Now, Mom, was this here whenever we visited, whenever I was younger?
No, they didn't find this until 1992 when two students from the university came and was doing some work over here. And long ago, the city had ordered all the wells closed.
Wow. So this is a real treat to get to see that then, because that's such a cool thing to share. Like, that's a piece of the past that was just literally covered up like it was no big deal, and to see it is cool. So Mom was just telling me, after reading a little bit ahead, these were some of the other things that they found when they were uncovering the well. There's all sorts of old glass bottles and pieces. Now, they do also have this mirror here, so you can look up instead of having to look over the rail and see deep down in there. Just kind of a different perspective. And within the same room, we have several different machines that they might have used at the time. So all of this section right here. So each one is numbered, and there is a large piece that tells you about each and every one of them a little bit into detail, so it kind of makes sense as you're walking around. For example, right here we have number 1 is the syrup crocks. They were used until 1930. So when we go and we look up, we find, where are they? There they are. They're up there on the top. And then right next to it, number 2 would have been the scale, where they would have been able to measure out the amount that they were using of each one of the products. Now right in front of us, I wanted to point out the 1898 crown cork and seal filler. That's a capper machine. It's literally right here. And it's very different than the thing that we saw that would put the caps on when we were in Dublin. This is like the older version right here. So it would definitely take a lot longer to use this machine than the one that we saw that was a little bit newer there in Dublin. This right here talks about the bottle washer and actually shows a large scale photo of what it would have looked like. Then here is what it would look like in real life. These are pretty cool because they have signs throughout kind of about different collectors and then also what they have contributed to the museum. So the nice thing about this room is the video is scheduled to run automatically and it's on a loop. So as you come in throughout the day, you may catch different scenes or different stories, and if you sit back and just kind of listen for a little while, you can learn so much. I mean, even Godzilla liked Dr. Pepper. Look at this, guys. Godzilla! I was this tall today when visiting the Dr. Pepper Museum. Look at it. It's so fun. This is cool. Just the murals in here are so neat. And then all of the pieces that show a little glimpse of the past.
This is the part I'm going to really enjoy. From beaker to bottle, the science of soda.
As you can see, Mom is very excited about her science. So we are going to come in here and learn everything that they will tell us without learning the secret recipe itself. So this should be very close to everything. Wait a minute, have they had a documentary about this the whole time?
Wide areas of the world to reach the remote ones like this one for cola nuts, a flavor ingredient valued highly by natives.
How did I not know until today, at this very moment, there was a job called a flavorist? So basically, when you're a flavorist, you use chemistry to help them determine the next big thing. And from there, they're able to bottle it and create it and turn it into something epic and do different groups to make sure people are going to like it. So that's a job. That's a real life job, guys. Wait a second, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? Awesome. And I've tried this barbecue sauce before, but not the Dr. Pepper version. So I might want to look into that because I absolutely love the flavor of their regular barbecue. So I can only imagine that one is epic. Now the true question is, how long do you have to go to school to become a flavorist, and can I still do it? So this guy right here was the first beverage chemist. His name is Robert Lazenby, and he actually worked in the 1890s, so he was well above many of the modern technologies that we have today, so he must have been an absolute genius. This guy right here is currently working for Dr. Pepper in Dallas, and he got his start with his college degree in chemistry and began with the Coca-Cola company whenever he was out in Atlanta. But since, he has transitioned over to Dr. Pepper. Now, just so you know, also, another thing that kind of goes along with this job, which is really legit, is your name gets to be on the patents for many of these things. This is a really sad moment for me, right here. So I used to love Crystal Pepsi, but in large regard, Crystal Pepsi was considered to be a super flop for the brand. A super flop. Now, if you haven't been on the channel very long and you only know me as Bunny, my real name is Crystal. I loved Crystal Pepsi. Now come with me, walk back in time through the Dr. Pepper hourglass. Here we go. This is what it might have looked like quite some time ago at a typical store that sold Dr. Pepper. As you can see, there are signs abundantly around, normal foods and things like that, and then a full shelf of sodas and beverages. This gallery is a much newer looking gallery, and it's going to take us through some of the fads, failures, flops, and successes. I can honestly say I have never seen a 7-Up Gold or a Diet 7-Up Gold. This was a 7-Up spinoff that was meant to turn your thirst upside down, and it only lasted about 4 years, and then they figured out that wasn't where it was at. This talks about how between the 90s and the 2000s was the peak time for companies to seek out these alternative ideas, and many of them flopped, but they still ended up getting a lot of recognition for them. These Nautilus drinks were actually a partnership between Dr. Pepper and Gatorade, and they were supposed to be going along with the Nautilus exercise equipment. Wow. Here's a little bit more of that Nautilus brand. And as you can see, they kind of marketed it as a complete unit. Can we just talk about this drink right now? This drink was my favorite drink on earth, and I have started to see it resurface again. And right here it says that it lasted between 1996 and 2000, and it was considered a failure, but because it was such a cult classic following that developed, they reintroduced it, and it's available now in some stores. Might I just add, it's available in stores near me. And although I used to be able to drink them like they were water, now I do see the difference, and I have to cut back as a responsible adult. Other items in this case include the New Coke. Now, New Coke didn't last at all, and there were a few reasons for this. Basically, whenever they rebranded to New Coke, it tasted nothing like old Coke, and it was absolutely, for lack of other words, disgusting. There's another one of those Crystal Pepsis right there. Oh my goodness, they were so good. When just changing the color doesn't work, you can change the texture of soda. And yes, I realize that sounds really weird. And this drink actually was really weird. Really weird.
This product only lasted about a year. People didn't like that texture.
It's weird. It was like swallowing tiny squishy bobas. So this right here is showing just some of the different older advertisements that they might have had in newspapers and things. They advertised that sodas were good for your health. Now they pretty much tell us the opposite of that, that sodas are bad, very bad for us, so we need to consume them in a much more limited amount. But that's the big difference between what 100 years can make. Look at this, guys. I knew I had seen it again. 2017, they re-released Crystal Pepsi for a limited time. I knew it. I knew I wasn't crazy.
Third floor takes us to the theater. Ooh, something else.
Something else. So up we go to find the theater and see what else is upstairs. Now right here we can take a moment to be the CEO. This is a photo op area that you can definitely take a photo with and see all of the different cool things that are associated now with the brand. Now I do like this because it basically says that anyone can become something special. And it tells the story of several people who have done some amazing and great things, including Chip and Joanna Gaines from right here in Waco, where the museum is located. On the third floor here, we're moving into the Free Enterprise Institute, which is so fitting after that desk.
When you taste Fullback, the new soft drink from the continent, superlatives are in order.
Now, we just watched a whole bunch of different things on the theater here, including some of the old commercials, which were really cool and surprisingly so different than what we have now. Go figure. But one of the things I did learn from one of the commercials was actually that they had something called a cola nut that was used with Royal Crown Cola, which we now kind of know as RC in many places. Right here it says that we will not be finding the secret 23 flavors here. They are locked away tight. I can say that I kind of figured that though. If everybody could do it, then we wouldn't be able to have it all the time through them. So it makes sense. Now, as you'll notice above us, we have these little cones, and as you walk into the area with the TV displays, cones actually tell you a little bit more about what's on the TV.
stopped selling.
One day, I was watching people get their bottles out of the cooler, and I noticed that a right-handed person lifts the lid with their left hand, reaches in and picks out a bottle with their right hand.
So this is really cool because if you stand here, he tells the story of his marketing strategy, and that's so fun. These are some of the many pieces of the Dr. Pepper Company. Right here we have W.W. Foots Clements, the chairman of the board. Wow, 50 years of leadership this man had. So what do you think so far, Mom?
Well, I think this museum is an amazing representation of a man and his dream and the desire to want to make things better for not only himself but for other people as well.
Okay, sunglasses are back on and we're moving over to this other building. It's really bright out here though. Woo! Woo, it's bright. But what's this? They have a new gift shop. So we're gonna go in here, I think, first, and then go over here to the main soda fountain building. Right away we have Dr. Pepper cotton candy and also Hawaiian punch cotton candy. Mom was just mentioning this looks like they used to use at like the restaurants. I remember Pizza Hut having these. Oh, this is a fun book. Marketing in the 20th Century. Look at this. So this is a book that fully breaks down all of the different styles that they've used. Oh, wait. This is Pretty Peggy. I remember learning about her also whenever we were in Dublin. Mom just noticed that these were up here. I completely missed them. These are light fixtures. They are so cool. Jelly Bellies, Dr. Pepper flavored ones. Those would be good. And there are also Dr. Pepper Twizzlers. Basically every tasty treat that can be put into a soda form is in here in some capacity. Ha! This is funny, trust me. I'm a doctor. That one, Mom?
The Hawaiian punch guy. Remember him?
There he is. And this one has a 3/4 sleeve. I kind of like this one the best so far. These are fun right here. They're just Texases, and then some of them have the openers on them, but the back of them are made from cans that have been flattened out. And right here, it looks like we found that Stubbs with Dr. Pepper. Oh my goodness. Tried this. Mom is looking, and what did you find?
These are experiments that you could do using the soda.
Oh, cool. So everything's included in the box, it looks like?
Looks like a lot of the things are.
Very cool.
This is the one with the jumping raisins. That's a fun experiment.
Mom has done so many cool experiments,
soda.
so this is like so right up her alley. Okay, so we looked around, we found some really cool things in there, but time is running out, so we're off to the liquid lab because we do not want to miss out on whatever it is that they do in here. We're not exactly sure, guys. I have no idea, but it gotta be something awesome because everything else has been pretty neat so far. Okay, we have moved inside and look at this. It is so cute in here. And with every ticket, you actually get a free drink. So after we're finished, we'll be going right over here and picking up our free drink. Now, right now, we're gonna move into the Treasures of the Dr. Pepper Museum. It is this giant vault area, and it looks like all of the special things that Dr. Pepper has hidden away are inside here. Did you know that if you drink a Dr. Pepper at 10, 2, and 4, you will keep up your energy and not have that little sadness in between meals? I would assume that's because of the caffeine. Yeah, probably. Now, this was a advertisement that was made popular in the 30s, so it would actually supposedly help your blood sugar levels and keep them going during the day, and that's why they encouraged you to drink sodas at those specific, very specific times. Inside the vault we find this mini Kiss guitar, and this was actually used by a member of the Kiss tribute band Mini Kiss in a Dr. Pepper cherry commercial. That's kind of fun. And there are some images down here, right here, of that actually happening. That looks so fun. I'm so sad that I do not remember this commercial because it looks epic. This right here was one of the first pairs of goggles that were actually worn in the early 1900s, and they were used to protect workers from explosions that might happen with glass. So these would keep them from having glass shatter into their eyes. And these are cat mirrors that were made in Germany originally and were given away by both Dr. Pepper and Coca-Cola as novelty gifts. Now, this was typically done during baseball games, apparently, and this was during the 1920s. Just a few of the reverse painted glass signs that were made popular in the 30s. Okay, it's time now. We are moving into the liquid lab.
Here, I promise to drink whatever you tell me to. Desert pear. It's the old-fashioned way. I do that kind of squirrel. The old-fashioned way. No.
Okay, so we just watched the Liquid Lab show, and they created a drink out of the simple syrups and then taught us kind of how we can make our own also, which I thought was really cool. And I can only imagine that at the house we could come up with some really weird ones.
I think we can. That'd be fun. We need to do that for one of your videos.
That could be super fun. I might do that over on the Try channel, so stay posted. The king of beverages. So this slogan was developed in the Artisan Manufacturing Bottling Company in 1905 and ran for a full 25 years, and that was their slogan. So we have a few of the items that were featured during that time right here, including some advertisements and then also a bottle opener down there also. That's kind of cool. And then this is a tip tray right here. This was where they would actually put the tips for the workers.
By the way.
In 1925, they transitioned to the Good for Life logo and slogan, and that was whenever they moved to Dallas and changed everything up. So over the next 25 years, they utilized this, and as you can see, the whole look and appearance drastically changed from that time. This is whenever they were really marketing the health benefits and moved to that 10, 2, and 4 o'clock slogan. Now here, we went to distinctively different. This began in 1958, and this was at the time when the hot Dr. Pepper really came onto the scene. And as you can see, it was a little bit menacing. They had a little red devil, and they were encouraging people to think differently when they were consuming their beverage. This included the hot style, but also mixing this with alcoholic beverages. Then we moved to I'm a Pepper, and that happened in 1977. Now, this was pretty cool, guys, because right here, it made everybody relate to it, and everybody wanted to say that they were a pepper. They even had phrases like this, be a best dressed pepper. They had lots of things that you could purchase and wear, and it really became way more mainstream for people to be the walking billboard. Now, by 1983, I was all of 1 year old, and this phrase came out of the ordinary. This is whenever they really began marketing more like adventurous kind of Dr. Pepper slogans. So you have buttons and things like that that would be given out regularly, and things like this. Now, of course, that's just some of the stuff. We've clearly gone a lot further down the rabbit hole since then, but this gets us up to speed to the 80s, and as we move through, we get to see a little bit more of all of the stuff that had to do with the beverage industry in this area, including 7-Up. Holt Beverage Company out of Waco was the home of 7-Up, and right here we can see a more modern look at the bottling process. This is really cool to see because this is a much bigger, much more vast improvement from the other building. You can actually kind of visualize how this would have worked on the assembly line, and this more closely resembles what we see in today's factories. But now it's time to move into the much more vast open space over here. There's all sorts of goodies. Mom was just pointing out something. Mom, let them know what you just noticed.
Over here where the mountains are, do you see they have used old cans and bottles for part of the structure? And then over here, the towers, and they have some of the bottles as well.
Looks like somebody is in the backyard area here having a little cookout and enjoying themselves, while over here some people are getting gas and having their cars looked at. There's so much detail in this model, and it runs for about 20 minutes every hour on the hour. Now we're moving into Big Red Country, and this corner tells a little bit more about the establishment that was going on here in Texas when it comes to Big Red.
The ingredients are added together.
Now, I never knew that the 3 flavors that are used in Big Red were orange, vanilla, and lemon until this moment right here. And being able to see this and then watching this demo just blew my mind completely. Now, since 1992, they have continued to expand the brand, and I have seen some of these. So in 1992, they started off with the big peach over here, and then in 2004, they added pineapple and a vanilla float. They followed it up by the Big Jack in 2005, the Big Blue in 2008, and the Big Manzana in 2012. Of those, I have tried the peach and it was okay. The pineapple was much, much better. And some of the other ones, I just haven't had the courage to touch yet. Circle A soda water. Wow. One of the original delivery vehicles right here. Now this is another one of the beverage wagons right here. And this one is a little bit different, as you can see. There are multiple levels. You could haul a lot more product. Now this guy, I remember him so well, and we would always see Spot everywhere. This was from 7-Up, and if you're not familiar, look at this. So 7-Up has this little dot right here, and Spot was that dot. Wow, that 2-liter bottle looks so crazy in comparison to 2-liter bottles today. That was when bottles were actually bottles, though. Now let's look at a few vending machines. Look at the difference in these. These are so cool. And this one is maybe my favorite. It is so amazing. This actually was out from the 1950s until the 1970s, but it looks like a blast from the way, way back past. Look at the detail. This is a beautiful machine. And then right here we have an Iron Man machine. That's fun. Now this was from 2010. Mom just scanned this QR code and it brought us to a video. This is linking us, I believe, to the commercial.
Yeah, as you wish, sir.
Very cool. And this is what the inside of a 50s box would have looked like right here. And on the other side, you can see what the front would have looked like. Now, Dr. Pepper did traditionally have these green machines for quite some time. Now, this is a Royal Crown Cola, and that's the one that I told you about a little bit earlier whenever we were saying that there was a cola bean out there, or a cola nut. Right next to that, we have a different kind of Dr. Pepper machine. This one was one that was around in the 80s. So around 1987, this was the style. And you'll notice it still has the door here where you can access the drinks. So very different than the drop-down styles that we have today. Now, my mom has a Coke box, and it's old. It's like old.
Yes.
And how much do you think that thing weighs, Mom?
I don't know, it's so heavy that there were 3 of us trying to move it and with a dolly, and it was still very heavy.
Yeah, so these that we're seeing right here that are from like the 40s and 50s, they were all built to last and stay in place once that they were placed there. The ones that we have today are a lot easier to move around because they're made out of like plexiglass and stuff. So these are made of metal. That's the huge difference. And seeing all of these is really cool because it makes me think of moms. Okay, so we've looked around everything and seen all of the cool details. I'm gonna show you around the cafe in here, and then we're gonna pick up that free soda. Now remember, you get a free soda if you buy a ticket for admission, so that's really cool. And now we're off. It looks like they also have some cool memorabilia in here as well. And look, there's even a lunch bag. But enough of that, we need to focus. We need our soda. So we're walking up in the line right now, and we're going to pick up our soda. 2 regular Dr. Peppers. I'm so excited. Now overall, Dr. Pepper has 23 mystery flavors that are included in one single sip. Only 5 people actually know the recipe, and as we learned, the actual physical written recipe is locked up somewhere else. So now let's Mom and I try to figure out how many of the magic ingredients that we can name with a single sip. This could be a fun game. We may be right, we may be wrong, we'll never know. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna take a sip and see if we can name flavors. Okay, go.
Sugar.
Flavors, not those kind of ingredients.
Okay.
Simple syrup is made from sugar, so obviously sugar is included.
Okay,
I think I feel as though vanilla is one of the flavors.
I agree.
So we agree on vanilla. 1 down, 22 to go.
Okay, I think I remember that long ago we used to think that there was prune juice in here.
But
we were kids.
But
we read something today.
Yes,
that said
no prune juice. So no prune juice. That still leaves 22 flavors. I don't know. I know that whenever we were in the liquid lab, we learned that some of the things that were on their menu were pretty interesting, to say the least. And any of those flavors could have been in here. One of them was clam. I don't foresee clam being in here. No, that's a much different flavor. Now, if I'm wrong and somebody is watching this from Dr. Pepper who actually does know those magic 23 ingredients, please never tell me. Now, this wall behind me was actually built way back, well before the Dr. Pepper Museum actually existed. It was on the property, and it was a portion of a large shed that was right here where the courtyard now stands. Now in 2007, the building that it was actually a part of was demolished, but they wanted to preserve the sign because it had been here for so long. So they took a giant crane and they lifted it up, and this 20,000-pound piece of concrete that had been poured in place was then moved to this area so that we could still enjoy it today. Just another piece of the legacy of Dr. Pepper. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode over here on the Bunny Plays Here Travel channel. If you have enjoyed coming and adventuring with me at the Dr. Pepper Museum, I hope that you will leave a like, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and check out the interactive map in the comments below. Come along with me for all of the adventures that I'm going on in the future, and then also that I've been on in the past. Until next time, guys, bye!